Good morning, everybody. Boker Tov. So, as you know, we have lots and lots of moments at Wise School where we get together, and as I'm always saying, the four things that we do when we are together. We get to learn deeply, we get to be creative, we get to experience wholeness for the purpose of making great happen. And today, we're going to get to do all four of those things again. We're going to get to learn deeply and listen and ask thoughtful questions. We're going to have some of our students come up and share some creative readings. We're going to experience wholeness as a community with the idea that we make great happen. We talk all the time in our wise learning process about patterns over time. How do things grow and change over time? When we look at history, and it doesn't matter if you're studying in 5th grade U.S. colonies or in 6th grade ancient civilizations, we learn about what happens in history, what are the big ideas that keep happening and that we keep wanting to understand. There are great things that happen in history, and there are really tragic things that happen in history. And sometimes we touch both of those. Today, we're going to learn about a part of history that's a tough part. But it's a part that we want to learn from and take great messages from and grow from. And the idea that you hear sometimes when people talk about Yom Hashoah and they say never again, the only way we can have never again is if we learn about it in the first place. So we know what we're not going to have happen again. So it's our job, just like Founders Day, when we meet the founders of the temple, and just like Medor Lador, when we have our grandparents and generations, it's up to us, guys. We're the next group. They take it to us at 10, 11, 12 years old, at 30, 40, 50 years old, and say, we have to know it, we have to understand it, and we have to take that message. We're so lucky that we're part of a temple, that we have amazing cantors and rabbis that are going to be here to help us understand and learn this story today. We're so lucky that we have all of your teachers that are going to go back in the rooms today and do some work with you on it. We have parents and grandparents, and we're so lucky that we have survivors who are really here to tell us their story. And we're lucky because they're still alive and they're able to tell us what they went through, and they're still here to tell us about it. Some of you have older brothers and sisters that might be on March of the Living. Is there anyone in here who has a brother or a sister? Yeah, a couple of you do. Some of your brothers and sisters today are in Auschwitz. Last night started Yom Hashoah in Europe, and today they are there. A lot of our 10th and 11th and 12th grade siblings and friends are walking in the camps today. They're there getting to see it with their own eyes, and they're walking with survivors. They're there, and what happens is, they're in Poland. Tomorrow they get on an airplane, and they fly right from there to Eretz Israel. So they go from the March of the Living, they're wrapped up in a flag, they get on a plane and they fly to Israel, where they get to be in Israel for Yom HaAtzmaut. It will never happen again. It won't happen because we're here. We get the story. We'll get on the airplanes and go to Israel. We'll make sure that it's there. So I wanted to just frame it. I'm glad we're here together. Eva, welcome. welcome back to WISE. We had you at our Founders Day a month ago, and now we're glad to have you back with us again. We're happy to have you. So please sit down and relax, and I believe we'll turn it over to Cantor Lutz, who are going to begin our service with us.
Good morning, everyone. It's nice to be together, even on this day with lots of different feelings. There's a song that we're going to share with you this morning called Eli, Eli, My God, My God. It was written by a woman. The text is written by Chana Senesh. Some of you may have learned about her. And Chana was not much older than you, not much older than the oldest students in WISE school. And she was taken prisoners by the Nazis after being a paratrooper. And she was tortured for information, and she never gave any information. And we were lucky to find some of the poetry that she had written during her time while she was in prison. And this song is a hopeful, beautiful message that she left us about feeling connected to God and the Jewish people, even in the darkest of times.
The last, the very last, so richly, brightly, dazzling yellow. Perhaps if the sun's tears would sing against the white stone. Such a yellow is carried lightly way up high. It went away, I'm sure, because it wished to kiss the world goodbye. For 7 weeks I've lived in here, penned up inside this ghetto, but I found my people here. The dandelions call to me, and the white chestnut candles in the court. Only I never saw another butterfly. That butterfly was the last one. Butterflies don't live in here, in the ghetto.
So as you can see on the screen now is the traditional prayer which we say at Yiskor time when we remember people. We remember not just people who perished in the Shoah, but we use this for a funeral, for High Holy Days when we have our Yiskor service. And it says, El Mali Rachamim Shochin B'Maromim, O merciful God who lives on high. And here you can see some of the words you actually, I think, can understand. Look in the middle where it says, Shel Sheshet Milyonei HaYehudim. What does that mean, Shel Sheshet Milyonei HaYehudim? What is Shisha? What number? Shisha. 6, right? That's correct. Shel Sheshet Milyonei, Jews who perished in the Holocaust, who fell in the Holocaust. Shahalchu Olamam. And they went to where? We think they went to heaven, or they went to another place. Baal HaRachamim. So that means that's the word we use, Baal. What's Baal in Hebrew? Master, a husband, a master. Baal HaRachamim, the master of mercy. The master of mercy. And God is the master of mercy. And sometimes, we don't see it here in this particular El Mali Rachamim. There's a number of different versions of this El Mali Rachamim for today, for Yom HaShoah. And sometimes it says, Shehem Naflu, Nafalti, Nofel, what's Nafal? To fall. Shehem Naflu, that they fell, Al Kiddush Hashem, for the sanctification of God's name. So next week we have Yom HaZikaron. And Yom HaZikaron is the day that remembers what? All those who fell in Israel, the IDF, and the forces of the IDF helping to make the state. So I just want to say one word. There's this poem next week which we read called Magash HaKesef. Mazakesef. Money or silver. And it's the silver platter. So I'm just forwarding for 1 second. Magash HaKesef. Nothing. Our freedom does not come free. And Magash HaKesef is about the fact that not here, only here in the United States, our troops, of which we have veterans here. Rabbi Noble is a veteran. It's a major, fantastic thing. We want to give thank you to you. So today we commemorate those Jews who fell during the Shoah. Not all of them fell by going to a concentration camp. Some of them fell because they were partisanim. They were partisans. They fought in the woods. Some of them fought at the Warsaw Ghetto, where a handful of Jews kept the German army at bay for 6 weeks. Brave people. So today we commemorate their falling as well. So I'm going to ask you to rise as I do chant this prayer which remembers our people who fell during this period of time. El Mali Rachamim Shochein B'Maromim Ametzei Menucha Nechona Tachat Kanfei HaShekhinah Gemalot Kedoshim Utehorim Kesor Rakiyah Mazehirim Et Nishmot Shel Sheishet Milyonei HaYehudim Chalei HaShoah She'alchu le'olamam Yastireu beseder genavav leolanim utzeror bitzror atayim et nishmaotehem Adonai unachlatam veyanuchu beshalom al mishkavam venomar v'kadish. Yitgadal v'yitgadash shemei Rabbah, v'yamad yivrach yirutei v'yamlich malkutei, v'chayechon v'yomechon v'chayei l'kol beit Yisrael, v'agalah v'izman karim v'imru. Amen. Yehei shemei Rabbah barach le'olam v'lalmei almaniyah. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromah v'yitnaseh. V'yitadar, v'yitaleh, v'yitalal, shemei nekudsha b'rifu, le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, da'amiran v'alma v'imru. Amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shmaya, v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael, v'imru. Amen. Oseh shalom b'imroma, Ya'aseh shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, v'imru.
In a moment, some of our students are going to join us to light candles in memory of the 6 million Jews who perished in the Holocaust. But if you look, you can see there are not 6 candles on our table. There are indeed 7 candles. And we will light a 7th candle in the hopes that something this tragic should never occur again. Not to Jewish people, not to Christian people, not to Muslim people, not to anyone, anywhere. But by coming together with understanding and empathy for one another, should we build a humanity that exists together, where we respect everyone's humanity and everyone's right to choose who they want to be, both in their service to God and as a people. And now we'll have our first candle join us.
I was the head of an orphanage in Warsaw and an emulated and respected children's author. One day, the Nazis came and took us to Treblinka. When offered my freedom, I told them I could not leave my children. In memory of Janusz Korczak and 1 million Jews.
Never shall I forget that night, the first night in camp, which has turned my life into one long night, 7 times cursed and 7 times sealed. Never shall I forget the faces of the children, whose bodies I saw turned wreaths of smoke beneath a silent blue sky. Never shall I forget those flames which consume my faith forever. Never shall I forget that nocturnal silence which deprived me, for all eternity, of the desire to live. Never shall I forget those moments which murdered my God and my soul and turned my dreams to dust. Never shall I forget these things, even if I am condemned to live as long as God himself, in memory of Elie Wiesel and in memory of 1 million Jews.
Dear Kitty, I see the world gradually being turned into wilderness. I hear the approaching thunder. I can feel the suffering of 1 million, and yet if I look into the heavens, I think it will all come out right one of these days. This is cruelty will end, and that peace and tranquility will return again. In memory of Anne Frank and 1 million Jews.
following lines are from the last song I wrote after I was parachuted into a partisan camp in Yugoslavia. Ashrei Hagafur shenisraf vehitzit lahavot. Blessed is the match consumed with kindling flame. Blessed is the flame that burns in the secret fastness of the heart. Blessed is the heart with strength to stop its beating for honor's sake. Blessed is the match consumed in kindling flame, in memory of Hannah Senesh and 1 million Jews.
I am lighting this candle in loving memory of my great-grandma Sophie Zeidman Hamburger. Her courage, strength, and amazing spirit made her a hero. She survived Auschwitz, escaping during the death march, and went on to become a wife, loving mother, devoted grandmother, and a very proud great-grandmother. She became a dear friend of the WISE community, sharing her story with us and many others, hoping that it would prevent something so terrible from ever happening again. We miss you and we will never forget you. In honor of my great-grandma Sophie and 1 million Jews.
I am lighting this candle in honor of Mr. Max Webb and all the survivors of the Holocaust. We are inspired by your personal story and encouraged in the commitment to tell in order for us not to forget.
This seventh candle is a reminder that we wish for our world to be a place free of prejudice and hatred, a place of shalom.
So we promised you that you would hear a most interesting tale, and we are honored and privileged to be joined by Eva Wartnik, a member of this congregation for some time, as I recall, and her journey is one that will not only shed light on what we are mourning this day, as Eva mourns her family, but also on all of the hope that we still maintain despite the tragedy that happened to our people and to your family. Thank you so much for joining us today.
You're going to just love her. That's all in love.
No, I love you first. I love you more because I love children. I babysat when I was a little girl next door. Oh, I'm sorry. Can you hear me now? Okay. Yeah. No, I'm here to spread love and energy for the world. And I love people, and you have to love your friends. Don't ever be jealous of one another. Study till the rest of your life. I'm 88 years old. I lost my whole family. I'm from Hungary. They were like around 70. I brought pictures, but another time when I come again. I'll show you all my life. I have it all in pictures. And you have to study constantly to keep your brain strong and your body strong. I started Tai Chi many years ago, which is, and I do now Qigong and meditation. And I recommend this for everybody because it keeps me young. Do I look 88? I'm getting close to 90. But I would like to have a smaller group maybe next time to talk to kids where I don't want to tell you all the horrible things that happened when I was in Auschwitz. And I was separated from my parents. So my poor mom couldn't even say goodbye to me, and that really tortured me all my life. And I tell you a little story that is true. I really went for help to a psychiatrist and said, well, she couldn't say goodbye to you because it was the last time that she will see you. So there was a little bird that flew on my windowsill and kept on honking. When I left the room, the little bird flew away. Then every day for a month, kept on coming on my window. And I decided, I think that was my mom's soul to say goodbye to me. And since then, I feel kind of liberated, and it just killed me, really. I was suffering from this because I was close. We were a very close Orthodox Jewish family, and my grandparents, they were just lovely. My grandfather was a mayor in a Carpathian small little village. That door was open for everybody. It didn't matter what religion they were, and they came in. He helped them, and he spoke English. I mean, this was like 80-some years ago. I wasn't even born then. And my father was the same way. He went to the shul every Friday night and Saturday morning, and he used to bring home a poor person to Friday night dinner. And most of the times I was excused from the table because they were slurping the soup and I couldn't stand it. Anyways, I'm here really to talk to everybody. Be strong, be helpful, don't be jealous, and love one another. See, I wear this little heart all the time because that represents me. My heart is so big, sometimes I feel it's going to jump out from my chest. So, I don't know, I would love to show my whole life to you, but the envelope is over there. Should I show it?
How many of you remember Eva from Founders Day? That's when she came to us and she said, you know, I'm a Holocaust survivor. I love this school. I love the children. They're so beautiful. And we said, you have to come back and tell us about your story. And she did, because she's so busy. Yesterday she was at Ariel, right?
Yes, yes. Yesterday I worked twice. I didn't get to bed. I hardly could keep my eyes open, but I have to do it. I have to fight, and you have to fight. There is a problem. If you feel you are wrong, they are wrong, go out and fight back. Because those poor people in Auschwitz, they went like lambs. They didn't fight back. I know my father did, but I wasn't with him because he was a soldier. He was dedicated by the Hungarians, and they said, nothing will happen to us. We were the first ones, but number one, it was the ghetto. And then I was separated in another city, and I was alone. I had long hair, so one Jewish lady took me in her arm, and she said, let me cut your long hair, because where we are and where we are going, there won't be water to wash your hair. But as you know, they shaved the hair in Auschwitz when you enter. They took your clothes away, they shaved your hair, and I was 12 years old only. So when we arrived in Auschwitz, there was a young man. In retrospect, he was a Polish young man in striped uniform. He was working, and he had a tattoo, which I don't have, because we were kept to be killed in the gas chamber. And I don't know if there are very young kids here to tell all this story. There are certain things that I will not talk except for older children and parents. So he said to me, when you come to the table, which was Mengele standing there, you know about Mengele, and this young boy said, when you reach the table, tell him you are 16. I said, I was told not to lie ever. That's how my father taught and my mother. And so they took us to Auschwitz, and at the entrance of Auschwitz, there was a gate, and it says, Freiheit, you will get freed if you work. You will be freed. So I said, well, I think I don't like the way it looks, the barracks and all that. They put me with the young kids that were not selected. And they put me in one of those huge places. There was no beds, nothing. If it rained, we had to sleep on the floor, and it was muddy. And the food, I right away volunteered. And whatever work, I was cracking stones. And then they put me in the kitchen to carry all these large containers with black water, which was supposed to be coffee. But it was terrible. They put all kinds of medication for women not to get their periods. And I worked at all times. But they had the Zählerpell, where they counted us Jews, see if anybody ran away, but you couldn't run any far because the fences were electrical. You know, if you touched it, you would die. And lots of women committed suicide because they knew what is going to happen. Anyways, I worked and worked and worked. One in the barrack, there was a woman, and her name was Toba, and she took a liking to me. And she was like my mom. Actually, in this little village that my father came from, she was an orphan, and my father gave her money to take the train to Budapest and learn a trade. And she asked me, what is your last name? And I told her my maiden name was Zuckerman. And she said, you know, she made my life. So she was taking care of me. Many times I was selected with some kids that were not taken yet to the fire or gas chamber. And she pulled me back, and the SS hit her on the head, but he left her kidney. And she really saved my life. After that, they said they're going to take us for a nice shower. And I figured that out, that shower wasn't a shower because nothing came out. Water didn't come out, gas didn't come out. And it was close to the ending of the war. You know, the Russians were getting close to Poland, which Auschwitz was in, we're now in Poland. And so we survived, and we got some gray uniforms, and by train, they wanted to move us away. And somebody, the Samaritan, you know, turned off the gas, or it didn't work. So we arrived in Chita, which was near Prague, and I worked night shift. And during the day, I was cleaning the apartments for the SS women. So one kid, I speak at a Holocaust museum for non-Jewish kids, Jewish kids from all over. And one child, a little boy, said, when did you sleep? I said, I don't know. I guess I didn't sleep. And then one day, we heard bombing, and I was in a corner by myself, crying. I was alone. I was afraid the bombs will fall and we'll get killed. But we heard they started yelling that the Russians are coming in. And that's how I survived. And the leader of the Russian, not the soldiers, I don't know what he was, he wanted to take me back to Russia to adopt me. He said, you won't find your family home. But I went, the Jewish organizations helped us, you know, to get the train ride. And I arrived in my little town in Transylvania, which was Satmarnemanti, now it's Satumare. It was changing, now it's Romania, before it was Hungary. And I came home, and my house was in the same place where the ghetto was. And they destroyed our home. I had no place to sleep. And I went to the station, they had a list who survived and who didn't. After a week or so, I figured, that's it. I have no parents, no sisters, no aunts, everybody just got killed. So there was the Joint, or I don't know which Jewish organization, gave me some money, and they advertised that there is a group that will take me to, or take us, whoever volunteers, to Israel. And I really wanted to go to Israel to fight, you know, for my right and for the right of the Jewish people that survived. And then I had my father's family, they left Hungary a long time before it happened. And they found me, my family was looking for me from my father's side. He was the only one that remained in Europe. And so I got a cable from them that I must come to the United States. So I decided to come to America. Now, I'm free now, so Hungary was under Russian occupation, and we walked, a group of us, and walked through the mountains, and we arrived in Judenburg, which was a DP camp there. They took over a school, and they gave us, I had to be with girls, you know, in a room, And then from there, they took us to Cinecittà in Rome. It's the film studio there. So they had big barracks, and they separated rooms for the survivors. So now coming to the point for you kids. I started learning, going back to school. I had such hunger for knowledge, and knowledge is power. And it's wonderful to be smart. And I must say, I tap my shoulder, that I did very well in my life. I'm very creative, and I lived, then they took us, I'm going back and forth, I hope you will be able to pull it together. And they had the art school. I started learning to be a seamstress, to do bras and corsets for women. And then I didn't like that too well, but a trade, you had to have a trade, you know, to support yourself. So in a DP camp, I spent 4.5 years in Italy, and it was fine. I was free. I could do whatever I want. And the highest and the joint and Andra helped us, you know, with food and some clothing. And I was able to go. I love classical music. I grew up with it. I went to the opera. I went to the concerts. Of course, it was free seats way on top. So since then, that's all I listen to. It's good. You should learn a little bit if you guys, maybe you are musicians here or learning piano. But in Europe, families believe that a child should know an instrument, some kind of an instrument. That's another learning. But you have to have talent for that. I had talent to do art. And I went to the University of Judaism, and I started sculpting, and I'm going to show you some of my pieces, okay? And my family too. This is the little town where I was born, Satumare now. Somebody wrote a card to me, so I kept it so I can show it. This was my family. And I was lucky to get these pictures because my family here gave me everything. Even letters that my father wrote to his brother and my grandfather. And I'm on the top here. That's me as a teenager.
We're going to scan these, and we're going to share them, teachers on the shared drive, so you'll be able to project them in your room and really see them. So you're not going to get to see them all up close now, but we will have them scanned and sent to your classroom so you can project them today.
this was my family, my father, my mother, Paula, and this is my mom and my father. This was supposed to be the passport picture, but we never made it to America because the president at that time closed the doors for the Jews. And I'm in the middle, I'm the youngest, and my two older sisters. And I was there was 8 years age difference, 8 and 7 years.
I'll take that.
Irene, Rivka in Hebrew, and Toba. Claire was her name. And I had like 3 mothers, and they taught me everything about famous composers. She was a pianist. She was a very smart woman. She was married. She had a baby, and the baby went, unfortunately, with my mom. She was adorable. Yes. Yes. Yeah, one more. This sculpture will be at the Holocaust Museum. Would somebody like to tell me what it represents? The last breath, I call it. This was the way I pictured before people were taken to the gas.
Eliana, what do you think? Eliana, a little louder, I can hear you. Right, a person's face, half a person, yeah. Somebody suffering? Yeah? Okay, good. Great.
Very good. And this is my last. I became a sculptor. I went to the University of Judaism, and the teacher, when I made my first piece, she said, "You are not telling me the truth, you have done it." I said, "Maybe in another lifetime, but I really promise you, I would have brought the first piece to show it to you." And all I can tell you, I love you guys, and spread your love for everybody. It doesn't matter what color. I have black friends, I have Korean friends, and I can see a change. It's happening. I want to change this world for a better world for you guys. I don't know how many years I have here. I hope a few more years, because I have to talk to children. You have to fight and take care of yourself and never stop learning. Learning is power. I speak 6 languages. I used to speak Hebrew, and I was reading the Hebrew word. I still know the grammar, Hebrew grammar, but I know Alech Holech, Habet HaTefilah, Ani Holech, Habet HaSeder. But it's coming back, you know. I was reading the Jewish writing. I love the Jews. I love everybody. It doesn't matter. You know, I never stopped. I must have taken classes. My husband took care of the 2 boys. I went to UCLA. I was very confused with religion, and I took a comparative religion. And you know what? They all preach the same thing. Be good to one another. But there are a few that spoils everything. And I have done quite good. I had very good. I could tell you, so maybe next time they will invite me again.
We definitely will. And Eva, the heart that you wear and the love you have is the love we have for you. So thank you for coming on this very important day and sharing your very important story with us. We're very grateful. Thank you. Let's give you a hand. Okay, so boys and girls, we're going to ask everyone to rise. And we're going to sing Hatikva together as a community. And then I know that if you have questions, you'll be able to write them. And we're not going to have a chance to do that yet.
We'll stand at the door.
Perfect. So we're going to have Eva stand at the door so you can say your own thanks and gratitude. And then we're going to, Eva, is it okay if we scan these pictures? Yeah, okay. We're going to take you to the door so we can do that. Eva, can we borrow these pictures for a little bit of time and we'll give them back to you? Can we keep the pictures and we'll give them back? Yeah? Okay. We're going to scan them so you get them. All right. Maestro. Hatikva, our hope continues. I want to thank you, boys and girls, for being such a wonderful audience and participation.